Hi guys, Lindsay here with Storybrook Family Farm. One of the things I got really excited about when we bought this property was that I had seen that there was already several different grapevines and arbors already in place here. So it made me really excited because I was like, man, this is going to be great. At our house in town, we had, there was already established a grapevine of a Concord grape there, and it made really good jam, and it also made really good wine, and it was really nice to be like the first year that we were there to have grapes that I could harvest and play around with and do different things with. It was a really cool experience. Unfortunately, because of how long these grapes have been neglected and completely forgotten about, they are not in good shape at all. I tried last winter, to clean all of this up really well, to do a lot of heavy pruning because the grapes, the first year that we were here, the first summer, trying to tell time for me is very difficult. It is not my strong suit. I do really well with just saying that this happened or that happened and knowing the chronological order of when it happened, but to try to tell somebody what year it was, what season it was, especially when I have so many things that I'm juggling, totally screwy. So try to stay with me. The first season that this was in production, whenever we first moved here, the grapes all had the black fungal rot on them because everything was so overgrown. So I went through last year and I heavily pruned it, cleaned out all the wild clematis that was really super choking out the plant, and also took out a lot of the grasses and stuff. When we first got here, you couldn't even walk through this part of the front yard because it was completely overgrown with multifloral rose. You couldn't mow the grass in here. Everything was, head high pretty much. So it was a struggle. I pretty much waited till it got cold last year, kind of roundabouts this time of year, that I was able to pull all this out. So I was really hopeful that that would then make it so this year the grape would be able to be productive. But the same thing happened all over again. It got really overgrown and the black rot set in again. So that's kind of sucky. I'm going to do a super heavy pruning on it this winter to try to see if there's anything salvageable, but I'm also going to take cuttings in the early winter of this grape behind me here, so then that way I can try to root some cuttings, so that way if doing heavy pruning kills it or really, really puts it back, I at least have several other grapes that I can then eventually plant around the perimeter here. I did originally, when we put the fence up, I did plant grapes, but a lot of them have died because of how wet the ground is here. This area of our yard, our front yard area here, is very, very wet. The ditch usually is filled with water constantly, and it's just wet. But so the other thing I'm going to do is there's a grape here that when we bought the place, the arbor had already broken down, and these grapes have been just growing in mounds for however many years it's been, no clue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take the chainsaw and try to cut them down. So with this one over here, I found a spot. The trunk of this grape here, it's really hard to see, but it is right over here. I don't think you guys would be able to see it, but towards the base of it, it's about that big around. So I mean, these grapes have been here for a very long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to trace along to find where there's several different offshoots of smaller branches, and then cut the entire thing right above those offshoots. So that way it'll basically be kind of like it'll kind of look like a candy cane. I'm hoping that then the little offshoots and side branches, that they will then in the springtime develop little starts, little shoots. Last year and the year before, this grape here and the other grape mound back there, they did not produce any fruit at all. So I have no idea what kind these are. Like I said, I think that this back one back here and that the one that's growing on a really rickety, falling down fake wooden, or it's not fake, it's just an old wooden fence thing. That one there, I think, is also a Concord grape, but there was only like one or two grapes from this one and that one there that were actually edible because everything else had that black rot. So kind of sucky to put in a ton of work to have a yield of like 2 grapes, but it is what it is. So I'm going to actually quit yakking so that way I can get this cut down, because then I have a whole bunch of grass to then pull out to then give and distribute between the rabbits and the goats. Unfortunately, all the clematis vines that I've taken off and piled up, there's a big pile back there, and then over by the truck, which we just got that back from the shop this past week, we have a big pile over there, and then back by our son's car, there's another big pile of the clematis. So I'm gonna probably take that back into the woods to just let it decompose. I did research on it, and from what Google says, it is extremely toxic to several different types of animals. So I don't want it to be in a place that like our goats are gonna potentially eat it. So it is unfortunate that I can't just feed it to them, but you know, it is what it is. But as for the grapes, what I'm going to do with that plant is once I cut it off, I'm going to actually drag it out into the woods to create essentially like a wildlife habitat area for different birds and squirrels and chipmunks and things of that nature to be able to just sort of nest and live and have, you know, additional housing, because I don't even know why. I don't know why I want to do that. It's just what feels right. So anyways, that's it for today. I only have a couple hours of daylight left to be able to work on this project, and then I got to go milk. So thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.